Welcome to California Leaders After Hours. At the end of a long day, when the meetings are over, the emails slow down, and people finally have a moment to unwind. Hosted by Christopher Luna, Nia Collins, and Bree Baker-Cohen, this series invites leaders from across California to join the conversation, sharing the stories, lessons, and experiences that shape the way they lead. This is California Leaders After Hours.
Welcome to California Leaders. Today we have a very special episode, completely different from what we're used to. We still don't even have a name for it. We have a lot of special guests today, starting with you, Nick, Bree, Nia. You guys are all awesome. Thank you so much for taking this test run with me. This new format's really important, and it really came down to an idea that we had talking over drinks. And we go to this happy hour, we're always hanging out, and we were like, we need another reason to hang out and drink some more. So it came from you, Bree, and I told you I was going to kick it off to you right away, but just give us some background, because I don't think a lot of people, especially the audience that is familiar with California Leaders and what I've done in the past, they're going to look at this and it's going to be completely different from what we're used to, right? So if you don't mind, just a little bit of background on how this idea came about.
Yeah, I think we were sitting at City Club, enjoying a cocktail, and I've been kind of like loving your show and the format as well, and kind of pitched myself as your co-host, or, I was like, hey, you need like a Robin, and I thought, who would be a great person to have kind of, I mentioned Nick Belardo, who I've worked with for a long time, and who would be someone to bring and speak to about, and you mentioned that was your idea. Like, that was someone I had been mentioning to you, and you kind of set the tone for that, but it was like an idea that we had, and kudos to you for bringing all that up. And
It happened really fast, and I really do appreciate you, Nick, and taking the time to really explore this, because I don't think a lot of people will understand the dynamics. I've had people, it taken me 2 years to sit down with people because they want to see how it's structured, the framework, and all of that, right? So it's really hard for me to get access to people like you. And I really do appreciate you coming out on this episode, and especially in this new format, because like I said, it was Bree's idea, and then we're talking a little bit about it, and we always hang out after work. And I mean, we do it because we're networking still. We're still kind of working, right? But it becomes something else, and we have these great conversations. We learn off of each other, and I'm like, we need to capture this. So this is the intent. We made your favorite drink. Tell us what this looks like, and how do you feel just being here in this different layout? Because I know you've seen the other structure as well.
I'll start by saying just how grateful I am to be here and to have friends that say my name in rooms that I'm not in. I think that's what this is all about. For me, I'm invited to hang out with a lot of smart professionals and people. The microphone in front of us is just here to record our conversation, but I don't want to be doing this with you anytime and any place. And if you tell me there's going to be fresh homemade Negronis anywhere, I'm going to be there. It's still my Italian heart.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, it's really incredible. We went to go have dinner, and we're sitting down, and it was hard for me to ask you questions because I hate having these conversations off the record, because a lot of the best conversations are had, obviously, with no cameras, no microphones, but I didn't want to ask you all these questions. So Bree really spoke really highly of you. I don't know you much other than what I kind of read up a little bit, but tell me a little bit about your background. Like, how did you guys two meet, and how did that all begin?
The journey here, if we're going to do the extended episode, we'll start it at the day I showed up in Los Angeles with a $100 bill in my pocket and an excuse for chasing sunshine. A friend of mine was helping to open a club in downtown LA. He called me and said, hey, do you want to move to Los Angeles with me? I had just gotten out of high school at the time and was ready for a new adventure. So I booked a one-way ticket to LA with no set skill set, no specific plan, a brain that was meant for dreaming, but not even a specific dream. And I got to LA, and I've done just about every job a human can do to get to this point. And I think in the moment that I was taking all these different positions, which I'm sure we'll talk about in this conversation, I thought I was surviving. I thought it was a way to make money, pay my bills. And then I realized all these years later that every job, big and small, have taught me some of the most incredible lessons that play into my much larger career today. And I'm so grateful for every single one of them. And if I were to leave your audience with anything today, it's that none of your output, none of the opportunities that you're engaging in are a waste of time if you don't let them be.
I love that. I've come across a lot of people. I mean, just growing up, a lot of our friends working in retail or, they're having their first job. I'm like, you never know who you meet, who's going to support you. So that output is very important. And we talk about that a lot of times. You never know who's watching you. And every time I met Nia, and when we talked about this, I mean, Bree came up with your name with this idea too. And we're like, she is awesome. Like, without a doubt, you bring so much to these conversations when we're hanging out because of your background, the knowledge that you have, and just how you really understand the dynamics of it all. So tell us a little about how you got involved with this group and how this all came about.
Let's see. I'll say this. So my line of work is in accounting. So I'm a number cruncher. However, I enjoy peopling. So I know that's a term that I've coined as of late. And so when it comes to connecting, when it comes to sharing experiences, lived experiences, professional experiences, to me that is just that's a joy. That's part of my why, right? And so to your point with all of these professional experiences that you don't quite know how they're going to culminate or how they're going to blend later on down the road. It allows for you to just have those touch points with people that you meet along the way and really give, just some fruitful feedback. So.
And I'm grateful that our paths have crossed prior to this show as well.
Yes.
And I could say you're really good at number crunching, and at peopling.
Well, thank you. That's a huge compliment.
It's not normal for someone in like the finance world to love connecting with people the way you do.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's a bit nuanced, right? I think with any field of choice, you have the opportunity to make it your own, right? And so it's when you connect with your strengths, and most importantly, when you pay attention to what lights the room or the feedback. I know oftentimes we think that we only have to dive into what we think we're good at, what's right in front of us. But it's not necessarily that. Our superpowers, people will let you know what your superpower is if you're really paying attention.
That's a really good point.
And, I've just had the joy of being able to just create a bridge, between that line of work and other opportunities that really speak to me and allow me to shine and pour into others. So
I read a great quote that makes me think of that, which is, are you climbing the mountain so people could see you, or are you climbing the mountain so you could see the people? And I think when you think about the arenas you enter, the jobs you take, the opportunities you pursue, if you're doing it to see the people, to see the world that it unlocks, you don't have to do it in a linear way. And you get to be the number cruncher who's also really good at peopling.
there we go.
So when you came into town with $100, where did you go, or how did it all start? I mean, trying to connect the dots.
I feel like it's like that classic LA story. I had a good friend who had a couch for me to sleep on, and I think I had a 2-month expiration on that. I took a job working at Club Nokia at the time in downtown Los Angeles. For you guys listening outside of LA, it was an incredible place and still is. Can I tell you the greatest lesson I learned in that job, actually, to start? I remember getting the job at Club Nokia, and you go to this great big orientation, they do a little bit of a personality assessment, and they say, you're incredible, you're hired, you're gonna be an elevator attendant.
Wow.
Today, I know how important that job is to the overall operation. Back then, I thought I could do a little bit more in it, but I was humble and I needed to take a job. So I became the elevator attendant of this very secret, special elevator at the club in which all the A-listers would enter. And night after night, show after show, I would stand in that elevator. And my greatest impact was pushing that button.
That's awesome.
But every time that door opened, Stevie Wonder would walk in.
Wow.
Every celebrity in the world that I've ever dreamed of meeting would walk in, and I would get 30 seconds to talk to these people. And I was never gushing over them. I was always professional, but I was very aware I was meeting best-in-class professionals, so I always wanted to learn lessons. So I learned the art of being really intentional with communication, asking questions that packed a punch, and leaving just a little bit of space for me to leave an impact. And I'll tell you the greatest story. So Stevie Wonder comes into the elevator. He grabs your hand when he's meeting you, just as a way to get to know you a little bit. We chat a little bit. I let him know that I was a songwriter and a singer and very passionate about music. Elevator opens, he goes on to whatever event it is. Later that night, he gets back in the elevator, hears my voice, and follows up on my dreams.
Wow.
And I remember in that moment thinking, in 30 seconds, I got Stevie Wonder, one of the greatest legends in the music business, to remember that I dreamed of the same thing. So I would say, as you're talking to people and connecting with people, there's a way to make every interaction super impactful. And that's one of the greatest lessons I learned from my first job in Los Angeles that I still use today in my career now, which is be intentional with your word, be specific with what you want to talk about, let people know who you are, and be at peace that it doesn't always need to be a long-winded
It
conversation.
was literally the elevator pitch.
It was.
Yeah, in motion.
Did I invent the elevator pitch?
He
Just kidding.
invented it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was a really cool opportunity. But what was happening in the background, and which forever changed the course of my life, and to answer your original question is, how did I become connected to someone like Bree Baker? Well, I did that job with full force, a job that many people would have brushed off as small or as insignificant. But I pushed those buttons with passion. I pointed people in the right direction with passion, and I made an impact on people. The GM of the club at that time, who's a good friend of Bree's, got to know me, taught me a lot of great lessons at my time there. Bree was looking for a VIP events and sales coordinator at the world famous Greek Theater, and I had an opportunity to interview for that position. And to be clear, I don't know that I was totally qualified. I did not have a ton of experience besides the nightclub in live music. And I went and met Bree based on a recommendation from Mark, the GM of the Club Nokia at the time, and had a great conversation with Bree. I was probably really nervous, probably didn't have a lot to say. And I'll never forget, I was doing one of my first hikes at Runyon Canyon here in Los Angeles, which if you've hiked that trail, you know there's no cell phone reception. And my BlackBerry at the time rings, and it's Bree Baker offering me a job at the Greek Theater. And as she offers me the job, and as I go to say thank you, the call drops. And I remember doing that hike. I don't think I've ever hiked up a hill and down a hill so fast to make sure that she didn't think I hung up and declined the position. But what that simple display of really hard work and making the simple task seem significant and making someone comfortable enough to share my name with a great professional like Bree unlocked my entire life story in Los Angeles, and quite frankly, every other door that opened for me. And forever grateful for that.
Wow. So how did you hear about his name, or how did he get referred over to you?
I don't know if I've ever told you that side of the story. Mark Girton and I, shout out Mark Girton, we worked together for a long time. He was the GM of Blossom Music Center, Cleveland, Ohio, where I used to work, where I met my husband. We're all from Cleveland. It all ties back to Cleveland somehow. There's like a whole contingent of like music people that worked in Cleveland that came out to LA. He called me up and he was like, there's this gentleman, I don't love him. That's how Mark talks. Like, but you're gonna love him. He's not for me. He's not my kind of person. Because he's a real straight shooter kind of guy, but he loves Nick. Like, but it's just like Nick is just not his kind of guy. I don't know if he'd love me repeating this on a podcast. But
Did you know this?
I'm loving every second of it.
He would never know.
First time hearing this?
But I totally get it completely. And
Like, but he's
there's
like,
no lack of respect.
but out of Mark is honest. He wanted the best for Nick, and he knew that I would love Nick, and he knows that Nick and I are still friends, and like he knew that I would love Nick, and he knew that Nick would work well for what I needed, and he would never not recommend Nick, and that's Mark, right? Like he called me and he was like, this is your guy. He knew me well enough. We worked together long enough, and he called and he was like, this is the guy you need. And he was right. And every one of my clients, like, Nick is sunshine in a bottle. Nick is everything that premium needs, everything that suites and partnerships, and Nick could host an event. Like, everyone adores Nick. We would be working an event and I'm on the radio and I got clients talking to me and we're handling a parking list and my face has an expression and Nick's like, I got it, I'm over here, I'm dealing with this. Like, he reads everything that's happening. There's not another person that could work in tandem with you like that.
I wonder if there's a book or anything about, I'm sure there are, but about the sense of hospitality, because I think we did lose that sense of urgency and that sense of respect to be really good hosts. And I think that's a really good position to have sometime in your life, in your life is being able to host other people.
100%.
Even being a waiter, waitress, right? It's like a lot of people just don't have that good customer service skill anymore.
There's a book called Unreasonable Hospitality. I recommend everybody reads it 2, 3, 4 times. And there's actually an activity book coming out this April that I'm really excited about. For me, though, what it always came down to is whatever your job title is, whatever you are doing, the way you make people feel is your greatest gift. And if you go to my LinkedIn, the top thing I write is my mission in life is to create exceptional experiences for every single person I come into contact with, so that in turn we both experience great people every single day. And I aim to be that great person for the stranger I open the door for at the coffee shop, for the team I manage at my current position.
You've
to my
always
friends.
been that way.
Yeah. And I bring that everywhere, and that's why it's not contrived, it's not overly curated, it's just that's my
Natural.
priority. And then I'll do the job that I'm hired to do. And I think that has always helped me make an impact, and thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, you have been that since I met you day one.
I love
Grit,
it.
endured.
And what's great about it is that you're not transactional about it. Like
No.
you're not doing it intentionally to gain something from it. That's
Mm-hmm.
just who you are as a person. So I think a lot of people see that authenticity and want to support you too in your growth. So just like this gentleman, like he wanted to support you, breathe. Like you bring such great aura and great positivity
In
around
spite
you. So-
of whatever someone may feel, they have wanted to support Nick. Yeah.
I think that speaks to just like what connection is, right? Authenticity.
Yeah.
People respond to authenticity, right? When you're doing things from a genuine space, you're, to your point, you're not looking to capitalize off of it. You're not going into it as, a benefit, doing a cost benefit analysis before you actually pour into. I think that is something that is not as common these days.
I agree.
But it's great that you're radiating that, because that means that you're impacting everyone that's in your path, and those who are watching to really embrace that too.
If I look back, quite frankly, had I optimized on some of those things more, I think I would be in a completely different lot in life. But at this age, at this point in my life, I got what I wanted out of all that, which is a legacy of people who would say he's really kind, he's really nice, he works hard. I think I work harder than anyone around me. And I'm good that that's what I took from all of that. We see it too much, right? The person who fakes the smile, says the thing that they think the other person is going to want to hear, and then guess what? You can't remember the thing you said, and you can't deliver upon it, and all of it goes away. It becomes fleeting. For me, I'm trying to make a legacy impact in my life, at work, in my personal life, everywhere I am. So I think I don't need anything in return other than making people happy.
People always remember the person, not so much what you say or it's how you make them feel. But how did you get into real estate?
Let's see, should I start at the Justin Bieber impersonator? Should I start as the LA Ice Crew member, the accidental signed model, the singer-songwriter performing on stage in Vegas?
Wow.
There's a long journey to get here.
Cut the B-roll.
Cut the B-roll.
Send me those images.
I did a lot of different things to get to where I'm at today. How did I get in real estate? Let's start back at, I'm 19 years old. And this has nothing to do with real estate. That's going to be my whole point of my career journey. 19 years old, Walt Disney Company's coming to Cleveland, Ohio. They're looking for their next host of AM 1260 Radio Disney. Somebody says, Nick, you have this great personality and you've got the look. You should go audition to be this radio host. Radio host, I don't have any of that experience, but I'm a yes person. So I went, and I remember walking into what my memory tells me was a warehouse of sorts. And there must have been 300 other people at that audition who all looked like me. And I remember in that moment going, oh, wow. So my brain had to immediately adjust to the fact that I walked into a big room and I was going for something that a lot of people wanted. I was not prepared. I did not have a resume. I did not know what they were going to ask me to do, but I showed up, I gave it my all, and I ended up getting the position as a live radio host for Disney, which I did for a little bit, traveling around the Midwest, performing for audiences, and there's a lot of lessons we could talk about there, but I'll shelf that for now.
How old are you?
19?
I had to be about 19 years
19?
old. Yeah.
Like right
And-
before I met you?
Yeah. It was the confidence boost that gave me the belief that I should come to Los Angeles and pursue something. So I did that for quite a while, and I loved it and really learned how to be on stage, how to sit in discomfort when no one showed up, but I still had to deliver a show, how to have a ton of people show up and be this kid that had a make all these kids have fun, but also make sure the parents thought what I was doing was great, and make sure that, by the way, the Walt Disney Company found me suitable enough. But what I started doing then distinctly in my life was studying the conversation before I got on the stage. Instead of focusing on the glory of being in the public eye, which I like to do, I sat in that conference room and I studied what the sponsors were paying me to say, studying what Walt Disney Company was premiering at that time and focused on. And I would take it 3 levels deeper. I would learn about the sponsors, not just what was given to me on the piece of paper before I'd go on the show. I'd learn what the Walt Disney Company's larger strategy was and why particularly those certain messages played into that larger piece. And then I got on stage and I riffed and I shared the knowledge that I knew. And I'd come off stage and sponsors were blown away because I knew more about their product than they even expected me to. The Disney Company was happy because I was making all their partners happy. And then, by the way, I was making audiences happy, and it became the perfect trifecta. And it was in that moment that I learned that you can fill a cup to be good, meaning I could have gotten up there, I could have sang the songs, danced the dances, been charming and fun, and everyone was happy. But I wanted to make the cup run over. And that's when I started studying the strategy, the business tactic, and the bigger picture of what was going on. And then as you get really good at what you do, you get to focus on what you fill the cup with. So from Disney, I grew the confidence to move to Los Angeles with the $100 bill in my pocket, ended up randomly at the Greek Theater where I was meeting countless people. But the Greek Theater is a seasonal music venue, so I couldn't only work at the Greek Theater. At this time, I was also really homesick. I moved to Los Angeles from Cleveland, Ohio, and I have a big, beautiful Italian-American family who I'm really close with. And when I would get homesick, I would run to a place here in Los Angeles called The Grove. For those of you who don't know what The Grove is, imagine your favorite place to shop mixed with Disney World and all the magic that comes with that. And I'd sit on a bench there sometimes for hours just because I was so comfortable. And I remember it was one certain February, something came over me to go knock on their office doors. And I'll always remember what I was wearing too, because it was a little informal for what the company became to be. But I knocked on the door, I introduced myself, and I said, I'm really homesick. I come here 8 hours a day. The only thing is I'm not clocking in. Is there any opportunity for me to come here more meaningfully and work for you guys?
Wow.
I get hired. One of the first jobs I get there is to help run this very world famous Santa house. So for anybody listening, this isn't your run-of-the-mill Santa house. This is the Santa house. It generates a lot of revenue. A lot of high-profile people bring their families through, and a lot of Angelinos bring their families here as long-standing traditions. What I learned in that Santa house changed who I am completely, because I learned the mixture of magic and business. And I learned how all those pieces come together to create this undeniable experience. It's cold. Weather's changing. Expectations of the families are high because, by the way, every single person who walks through that door, it's their first time. It was my 800th time of the day, me and my team. But we created magic over and over and over again. And you had used the word transactional before. There is a little bit of an art of being able to be transactional, to repeat an action over and over again, but to bring energy to it like it's new, because I'm not doing it for me, I'm doing it for the people around me. Anyway, those Santa doors opened a new opportunity for me to work for this company called Caruso, which is a deeply meaningful company in my life. It changed who I am as a professional and a human. And I climbed the ladder at Caruso up into the point where I get asked to be a temporary office manager.
He even got me to go work over there as well.
You were a very good elf, Bree. You were a really good elf.
I didn't fit into the Santa's helper.
You were very good. Sales were out the roof that year. Don't listen to her. So I get this job.
I did the ka-chinging, though.
You did good. You were great.
Yeah.
You were on Santa's good list that year.
Yeah.
So I get this job to be this temporary office manager. Let me tell you what I also had no business being was a temporary office manager, but I did the job and I showed up every day. Memory tells me it was like a 2-month stint that I was getting. And so I go help them run this office, and all of a sudden I found myself knowing what this person did every day at this time, what that person did every day at this time, what made that person happy. I would overhear what people were talking about, not liking about the office, and I would just go fix it. And it was fun for me. It was the first time I coined my phrase, the people playground. I focused less on the office, more about the people. But this is my favorite story about how I got into marketing, which will help me tell you how I got into real estate, just to bring it back to the question. This incredible, incredible professional, our CMO at the time, she was busy 24 hours a day. She was an incredible mom and dedicated to her family. She had a huge job in this marketing capacity. every day at 3:00, she would walk into the kitchen to get something to drink, like clockwork. And I noticed it. I clocked it. I knew it was happening. At this time, I was starting to think about what did I want for my career? Where did I want to go? I knew I liked people. I knew that from my experience at Disney and other places that I loved studying people and finding ways to blow their minds. And for me, that naturally became a marketing pathway. I said, oh, I should be good at marketing. I should just go do that. No background, no formal education, but a desire. So guess where I was every day at 3:00 p.m.? I was in that kitchen. And for those several weeks, the most that sometimes I would get was a hello and a smile. And I smiled and I said hello, and I made sure that I was always there. And it's like the famous holiday party story. A Negroni or two happens. We're at the holiday party. I see Judy sitting there. That was her name. And I walk up and I say, I should be on your marketing team.
Wow.
And I remember the next morning waking up and being like, ooh, too many Negronis. That was a little bit bodacious of me to do, but I did it. And I get called into the office. She comes in and she says, my assistant's going out on a 2-week vacation. Can you fill in? So I said, sure, I'll absolutely fill in. Thank you so much for the opportunity. And I'm her assistant. I mean, I'm sitting at a desk going through paperwork, making sure that she's set up for success. And the one day, I had this packet of papers that need to get couried to her home. A lot of respect for her. She would always leave the office on time to be with her kids, and then I would make sure that her remaining work would show up at her house to take care of when they went to bed. And I'm going through this packet of papers, and there's all these Post-it notes where she needs to sign something. And as I'm going through it, I see a page that calls for her signature that had no Post-it note. So I take a piece of paper and I stick it in there and said, hope this is an overstep, but notice there wasn't a Post-it note on this page. Sign this one if you need to. Well, that little above and beyond moment led to her realizing how bad I wanted the work, how attention to detail I am, how thoughtful that was. That was unreasonable hospitality in itself. And I got offered a permanent position as a marketing coordinator on the team at the Grove, the very place where I went to find peace when I was feeling homesick. And I went on to work for that company for 7 years in the marketing capacity. It was experiential marketing focused. So it was really the art of planning experiences that drove people to the property and then built strong partnerships with the tenants of the property to drive sales to those folks. And those were the greatest 7 years of my life until I got into real estate. A little startup company called me 7 years ago, actually 9 years ago coming up on. And the recruiter said, hi, we're a startup real estate tech company. Nobody knows who we are. Do you want to come work for us? No, thank you. Hang up. They call again. No, thank you. All is good. I have one bad day at Caruso. I think I had a handful in the 7 years I worked there. They called me on one bad day. I took the interview and was blown away by the people I met, enthralled by the mission of a company that no one had ever heard of in this market, and the opportunity to help them build it. And almost 9 years later, here I am as their director of marketing and operations, overseeing our Southern California, San Diego, and Hawaii regions. And the greatest group of professionals that I get to work with are my teams of marketers, of account managers, of workplace leaders. And I'm now living the next version of the best years of my life at Compass.
That's incredible. I mean, the Caruso property is intense. I mean, their whole thing literally is like Disneyland for retail, right? They create this experience to make sure that people feel welcome there. Yeah. So for you to understand all those dynamics and to understand how to navigate through all of that and be able to pick up on little things like that and how you grew into that, that's incredible. I think anyone would just want to work there for free because you learn so much, Absolutely. Right? So it's incredible how you're able to do that from the Santa house, which my family and I go to every year.
Love it.
So, I mean,
throw up some pictures.
This story is so compelling because what I hear is you have a natural ability to look for opportunity. Not too many people have that gift. And so I'm just curious, what are some things?
Raises his hand, yeah.
Right, looking for opportunity, right? To me, that's a skill. Just with your story, I think it's a gift because you've proven to do that time after time. Just out of curiosity, what would be how can one train their brain to look for opportunity?
That's a really good question. I'm very fortunate. It does seem to come natural. Like I just see in between the lines. I would go back to that metaphor I shared a little bit earlier. If you get given a cup in life, fill the cup. If you want to be good, if you want to just get the job done, If you want to be great, you have to make the cup run over. So first thing I would say to an emerging leader about finding those opportunities and training your brain to do so is get really good at the job you were given. Don't cut the line. Don't try to rush through that. We always hear, be the student, right? So be the student and learn and get really good. Make sure no one is running on that treadmill faster than you. When you get to that point, that's when the brain can start to unlock the potential of those other opportunities. And I said it earlier when I was in the temporary office manager position. I didn't focus on the office. I focused on the people. And I think if you go into rooms and you go into opportunities and you focus on the people, hear what they're saying, hear what their needs are, hear what the problems are, there you will find the opportunities and then run towards them. And I will tell you single-handedly, if I left anybody with anything, my greatest career growth came by raising my hand for the least appealing tasks oftentimes. The thing everyone else wanted, I would look that way and say, no one's talking about that. I would go fix it. I'd make it the best. And that is when I would grow.
And you did it without asking for more. I'm sure, if you're given the opportunity to step in as an assistant, obviously it's more workload, it's more responsibilities. I'm sure you didn't say, well, okay, I'll do it, but I need more money.
Yeah.
You make yourself available to these organizations, and they see the type of person you are, so they're going to want you to stay there and grow.
Absolutely.
I'm sure.
What I'll say to that though is you don't ask for it, then do it. You do it, then ask for it. I am a huge proponent of self-advocacy, and I do think we have to ask for what we want, fight for what we deserve, and I'm definitely known for that. But you do have to do the job that you want, and you have to do it not for 1 week, not for 1 month, sometimes not even just for 1 year. You have to prove that you're in it to win it, and then you get to advocate. And I believe if you do things in the right order, you do things strategically, respectfully, you'll get what you want in life.
You prove your worth. You prove your the type of person you are, and you prove yourself to them to make that ask. What becomes difficult is when you make that ask and they don't have that same sense of respect, and I'm sure we've all had those type of jobs, right, where it's not reciprocal. They think anyone else, or they can hire anyone else and they'll do the same, they'll be the same.
Yep.
But it's very hard to get, you build teams. I think you guys all build teams, and we all know how hard it is to get good employees and have them stay motivated.
Well, and as an employee, you have to realize too, growth is not just up. Growth is 360. And asking for growth upwards when you haven't grown around doesn't always work. There has not been a position I've been in life, whether it's in a leadership role or coming up into leadership, where I knew everything about the environment around me. And a lot of growth is lateral, and skill set growth is important. Reputation growth is important. Tenure is important. And when all these pieces come together and you fill that cup, make that cup run over, there's nowhere for you to go but up. But you can't just go up, because when you climb that ladder without your skill sets developed, it breaks the chain at some point. And that's what I urge anybody who comes to me for career advice that way is get really good so that whatever altitude you're flying at, you're flying and not falling.
Yeah, I had interviewed Stephen Chung, who I plug. He's going to be on the cover of our magazine. He talks about all these lateral moves. Now, I don't know, we were having this conversation. I said, okay, wow, you had all these positions. You're getting promoted pretty quick. And he's like, no, they're lateral moves. But I became good at what I was doing, and that's what propelled him to what he is now. So
Yep.
it's funny. I don't hear that a lot. A lot of people don't say that.
Yeah. My grandma used to always say when I was a kid, this is like a personal life lesson that plays into real life, professional life. She always would say, if you're bored, you're doing something wrong. You could be bored with certain tasks of your job. All of us have the mundane, the thing we don't love about what we have to do, but you cannot be bored in an opportunity. It means you're not finding those opportunities that we talked about earlier. It means you're not trying to up-level and perfect each skill set around you. Going up can't be the only way you have fun, or you will not enjoy your career. And I find people who don't love their career are either in the wrong position or they're only focused in one direction. And you've got to find joy in all the directions, because professional growth is not linear. It goes all over the place. And I think that's done well for me. And I've seen the folks around me who grow embody that spirit as well.
Nick would, at the Greek, we had all these chairs to put out all the time. And when I think of you sometimes at the Greek, you never made a task boring. Like, Nick we'd be listening to music, but he'd be like lifting up the chairs, like working out with them, and everyone got a kick out of it because the artist would be performing and Nick would be working out with the chairs, right?
Best shoulders of my life. Came
Yeah.
from the 3 feet.
Give them some chairs right now. How are you feeling after your run yesterday?
Oh, well, I can lift up, but don't ask me to kick anything right now. My legs are a little sore. But that's the exact point, right? We made something of what is, quite frankly, the most boring, repetitive task, and we had fun with it. And guess what? When I think back on being the VIP events and sales coordinator over some of the most beautiful suites in Los Angeles, you can't have those without chairs. So while those chairs might be boring to put out, they might have been really heavy on those 90-degree Los Angeles summer days. Those VIPs have to, you have to, the VIPs had to sit somewhere. So that was a critical part of the operation. And that's the art of finding glory in the mundane task.
Yep.
That is a very important step to the process. Chairs in the VIP suite. You can't find that boring. Because don't put the chairs there. Have the VIP show up and see what happens. You certainly won't be bored when they're yelling at you and asking for their money back.
Yeah. I was just remembering, I think I told Bria this story, but I was at an event and it was like a conference, a women's conference actually. And, someone shows up late and everyone's sitting down, but they're standing in the back of the room. So I see her come in late and there's an empty chair, but it's kind of like in the middle. You have to walk through people. But I knew if she didn't sit down, she would be standing up for a long time. So I literally just walked her to her chair. That's all I did. I didn't pull it out. I don't think I pulled it out. But I just walked her to her chair, but it was kind of awkward walking between people, right? But because I was playing host and I walked her to her chair, someone else walking back, so they're like, oh my God, Chris, I've never seen anyone, or I haven't seen anyone do that in a long time. I'm like, I just didn't click to me what that small detail means to certain people to make them feel welcome and comfortable into going into a room like that.
It's the ripple effect. Somebody witnessed you do a small act of kindness, of hospitality. They were so moved that they told you about it. And guess what? They probably told 3 other people about it. And guess what? They probably opened the door for somebody that day or walked somebody to their chair or did something that continued that ripple. It's really important. And that plays in your life and your career.
Yeah. Well, let me take a quick break because I want to drink some of my drink and that sun is coming up on my eye.
Right in your eye.
And then I want to tap into a little bit of I want to pick your brain on the marketing aspect because, it's incredible bringing in that hospitality, that experience, how to make people feel into what we're trying to create here with this show. So I'd love to kind of pick your brain on that, but just give me a couple minutes. We'll hopefully have a commercial if I have a sponsor, maybe some alcohol sponsors, right? We'll get one soon.
Campari, we're calling you.
All right, we'll be back.
Cheers.
Salud.
Cheers.
Cheers.
We're going to take a quick break to refresh our drinks and reset the room. When we return, the conversation continues on California Leaders After Hours. Welcome back to California Leaders After Hours. We've refreshed our drinks and we're ready to continue the conversation.
Welcome back to California Leaders.
I have to say the Negroni, the second one, even better than the first. So thank you for that.
Is it? What did you do yesterday? How was that?
So if any of the B-roll shows me limping into the studio, I completed my first full marathon yesterday, running the beautiful Los Angeles Marathon course from Dodger Stadium to Century City, 26.2 miles.
Wow.
Amazing.
And you had some of your family join you as well, right?
I am surrounded by some of the most incredible people who, it's that dangerous relationship, which is I'll do it if you do it. And then we get ourselves in these situations and, you're definitely a product of the people you surround yourself with. And I got it right in life. So 2 of my cousins ran the race with me. But one of my sisters flew in to be our cheerleader. And it was such a rewarding experience from joining, by the way, less than 1% of the human population who will complete a full marathon in their life. Wow. But to do it with people who you admire so much is the best.
How is it halfway through? I mean, tell me about that process. Like, what do you go through? Because that's not easy.
No, and the process doesn't start at mile 1. It really starts 150 days ago when we started training. To want to train, to wake up early, to fit it into our busy schedules. Since last October, it's been a really intentional focus on this race. So I understand why so few people do it because of the prep work it takes to get there. But race day comes, it's 3 a.m, alarms go off. We're fueling, we're getting ready, we're getting psyched. You get to Dodger Stadium, and to describe the energy of 25,000 people who believe this crazy task is possible is so mind-blowing and so joyous and so exciting. it's almost like a bubble of delusion, because when you think less than 1% of people do this, but in that moment I thought everyone believes in this. Everyone thinks you should run 26.2 miles. And by the way, I'm not only talking about marathons, right? We all have our own mountains that we like to climb, trails that we like to run. But miles 1 through 18 went beautifully.
Is that where you get a second or a coin if you stop at 18? I forget how many miles because it's like a new thing this year, right?
Well, it's a new thing. There was a weather event happening in Los Angeles on Sunday, extreme heat. So I think out of precaution and offering people the opportunity to advocate for their bodies, you were able to peel off a little bit early and still be recognized for completing the marathon.
What was the temperature?
I don't. I could tell you what it felt like.
I saw you message something.
Yeah.
I was like following you, but it was like
I want to say it was the high 80s.
Yeah, it was,
Yeah.
About
and it
87.
felt higher. It was really hot. So me personally, I was not taking that medal if I didn't do the 26.2. Love to anybody who had to take the alternative path.
So you're running, you see people coming off, and you're like, you said,
I didn't
yourself?
look mentally.
Oh,
I didn't want to see it, but there was a little peel off that where you were able to discreetly exit the race, still get the medal. And by the way, go run 18 miles and criticize.
Yeah, it's a good.
Right.
That's a good start.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, no.
Huge accomplishment.
And guess
For
what?
sure.
It affects nobody else. So, proud of everybody who was out there. And it's really exciting too, because it's such a diverse group of athletes as well. You're seeing people of all backgrounds, all shapes and sizes, all doing this incredibly amazing. It's truly actually emotional. So that day, miles 1 through 18, I was feeling really good. 18 through 26.2, you meet your demons, you meet your muscles, you meet your fatigue, and all you want to do is stop. And you'll hear runners and athletes tell you really have to dig deep in those moments. I was talking to younger Nick in those moments. You're doing it for him. You have to do this. I was talking to my legs at one point.
I have a lot of questions.
Yeah, let's go.
I'm right
Okay.
behind you.
Okay. Did you stay alongside your cousins, or were they like off on their own journeys?
One of my cousins showed up to play a different game that day, and she beast moded this thing.
I know who.
Yeah, her name's Lauren, and she
Yeah.
was like, we'll all run together. That start line, she was gone, and really incredible what she accomplished. And then my cousin Jean and I, we ran the race together, and it was really a beautiful bonding moment to experience that. And Lauren and I have run races together as well, so it's something really special about pushing your physical limits and being so aligned with somebody. And there's this great video of Gina and I crossing the finish line, holding hands, and then we do the classic arm up. And I think about just being so family oriented. One day when we're 90 years old, seeing that video of the cousins who stuck together, it's really special. I get a little choked up talking about it.
No, that's amazing.
You just have like the David Goggins in you just yelling at you the whole time.
My cousin Lauren, when she hears you say David Goggins, is going to just be so happy. She plays him while she is running. She's such an advocate. So David, when you watch this episode, tag Low Nanny on Instagram.
We got to have
I
him
have
on
to
the show.
ask because I have a few other friends that participated, and one of the asks was to create a playlist, right? So they had this playlist, add some songs to it. Did you have a playlist? What was your...
It's the perfect question, because we started this by talking about marketing. So I think there's two ways people listen to music. There are those that hear the words, and there's those that hear the music. I'm a lyric person.
I see.
So when I listen to music while running, I listen to soundtracks to albums start to finish. It could be Lana Del Rey. It can be Taylor Swift, Aerosmith, Billy Joel, Britney Spears, but I will listen to a body of art because I get lost in my interpretation of that story. So no playlist per se, but listen to albums. Billy Joel, quite a bit on
He's a
this
piano man,
particular
this
race.
one.
Yes, I could tell.
know who he is. Brie. Thank
Right.
you.
No. I meant he's the piano man.
So you look at me and say like, I don't know who he is.
I listen.
Chris is like, wait.
Mine would be like Metallica or
Yeah.
Rage Against the Machine or something.
Yeah, no, I
It'd just be like
can
in
get
anger mode.
I can
just
get
the
on
whole
that.
time.
But more interesting, for the first time, really, I turned the headphones off because the spirit of Los Angeles that day is so special but so loud. So I actually just drew from the crowd of people around me to build up on that energy. And so to answer your question, I listen to albums start to finish. But for a lot of this race, I turned the music off and just soaked in the environment around me, which was new to me, pretty motivating. I don't recommend listening to yourself breathe during a marathon.
Oh, good.
I've been holding my breath this whole show so that doesn't happen again.
What's something that you would do differently to prepare?
Yeah.
I know with all that energy flowing around you, communicating with people and just kind of seeing and hearing about their journey, what would you do differently the next time?
Oh, that is such a good question. This is, I'd say, metaphorical and literal. Don't say yes to everything during that concentrated period of time. I took on a lot of projects, a lot
He's
of travel.
going back to get, should I, like,
Yeah,
would
sure.
you- he's going back to get his MBA. Like it's a lot.
Yeah. So I'd probably say enjoy a couple projects at once versus a million projects, but I'm never going to take my advice, but it's who I am. I would say train even a little bit more. I'd say if you look at a scale of 100%, I think I completed 80% of my training protocol. I wonder what I could have accomplished had I've done it all, but life's about balance, and there were just times where other priorities had to take space. But I don't know, overall, I'm actually kind of proud of the whole project. I'm also somebody who can make something like this really unenjoyable by attaching metrics and specific goals, and then I will obsess about it, then I will finish that race and not be happy about it at all because I didn't hit this certain thing. I really just enjoyed the moment, enjoyed the process, and it was about crossing the finish line and achieving something really special versus doing it in this amount of time, accomplishing this along the race. It was just be in the moment, do something really big. And yeah, so I think overall I was actually I was pretty happy with myself. The thing that inspired me about the LA Marathon, my biggest takeaway is when I think about starting training back in October, it's a progressive training. You start 4 miles, you get up to 7 miles, then you get to 10 miles, then you're running 17 miles day after day after day, and then you scale it back, you scale it up. And what really blew my mind is one Saturday I'd wake up and run 17 miles, and by mile 10, my body was getting tired, my brain was getting distracted. But you would hit the 17-mile mark, and then next run is 6 miles, and all of a sudden that same feeling was hitting me at mile 4. And I realized that our brain plays the biggest role in all of this training, because how is it that I can run 17 miles but then get tired at mile 4 on a shorter run? And while I was in the middle of the LA Marathon, I get struck with this inspiration, which is our ability to achieve is directly correlated with the scale of our dream. And whatever it is you're pursuing, whatever it is you're doing, I think you got to go big. You need to be audacious, and you need to think the biggest scale of what you want to accomplish, because your brain will get you further. It doesn't mean you're not going to get tired along the way. It doesn't mean you'll even get all the way, but you're going to get further than if you think small and dream small.
It's a 10x approach. You always want to aim high, because even if you do half, it's still great, right? So, how do you incorporate what you're doing into what you're doing today? Because it sounds like you're quite involved. You're diminishing, I feel like, the role and the space and the capacity that you're doing today. What does that responsibility feel like for you? Because that's a big P&L. That's a big budget that you have to amplify your work, and not just your work, but all these individuals that work in that industry.
Yeah.
So what's your day-to-day, or how does that feel like?
There's a book that comes to mind that I'm currently obsessed with called Radical Candor. I highly recommend that book if you are in a position where you're offering feedback to people, if you're nervous about sharing feedback. It's a really great approach to doing so. Within that book, they talk about work-life integration. I've been a proponent of work-life integration forever, and the opposite of that would be work-life balance. When you leave work, you're done working, and you go into your personal life. I've always melded the two, and I've always looked at my life on scale. I've acted this big, like I've had this level of responsibility since I was managing that Santa house. So this feeling isn't new to me. The call to action, the inspiration to be great, the ability to lead and inspire those around me. I've been doing that for 17 years of my professional career. Today, what does that feel like? Well, first and foremost, I work for one of the greatest organizations. I'm very fortunate. I believe in our mission. I believe in what we're doing. And my blood, sweat, and tears are in this company. I've been here from the early years and helped build it. I always say my job is being a people leader. I give all my time and energy to the people who are on my teams. I don't look at them as direct reports. I look at them as peers, as colleagues. But my job is to unlock their potential. And guess what happens when you make really great people be really great? The job gets done really well. So I really try to lead by example, not to be too cliche about it, but I show up every day aware of what my role is, which is to be great, to be an example of greatness, to execute with greatness. I shared this on a show before, but when I was a kid, my dad used to always say, live your life in a way that you never have to remember what you told somebody. And I try to work that way as well. I speak the truth, I work the truth, and I am exactly who I am, and I lead by example. So there's nothing that I'm doing at work, in a professional setting, or on projects that I'm in where I have to remember what I said or what I did, because it's just who I am. And good is never good enough for me. Great might not even be, to be quite frank. I believe that if you're gonna enter the arena, fight like hell and 10x your potential. Being the best isn't the ultimate goal, but fighting like the best, working like the best, executing like the best means the world to me, and I don't settle for less. And I think because people see that in me, if I'm so lucky, people around me will emulate that as well and hold that same standard for themselves. And to be clear, I don't expect that of people for what it gives me or the company's bottom line. It's because I believe what it gives them back is life-changing.
You brought up a good point about being able to read people, right? I can definitely see how it aligns with most career paths, but it's a skill that isn't often discussed, right? On how to read people, just understanding human behavior, you know.
How do you do it in today's world? People who are growing up in the 30-second content world where we don't connect with people in person.
They don't know
I
how
am
to do it,
so
yeah.
grateful to have been a child of the garden hose drinking and pre-cell phone era.
This gentleman can read my face,
Yeah.
my facial expressions from across the room.
I truly have so much respect for the emerging leaders in this world, because understanding people is a completely different thing. I guess the elevator pitch comes to play because you have to make an impact in 30 seconds, but
We definitely need to rebuild that. I always think of it as economic development too. Think of all the restaurants, all the bars that are suffering right now. People are not going out. They're not drinking. They're not having these moments, right?
Experiential moments are lost, right?
Yeah, and we have to build that back up. There's a meaning to what we do.
People
I feel a sense of it coming back, though, in this city in particular. Over the last 3 years, I've been very vocal about just this feeling of the spirit that was here when I got here gone. But more recently, I'm seeing people out again with energy, connecting. So I think it's about us continuing to show up. It's like that post-COVID vacancy of the office place. Someone's got to show up and show people that it matters to be at that water cooler. And if you show up repeatedly, you connect with people, then they keep coming back, and then they connect with someone else. We have to show the world that showing up, making eye contact, and going old school still plays today. We have to lean into the new stuff as well. We have to lean into the digital world. We have to lean into the social media space. But I'm not living my life. Not talking to you face to face, not knowing what your kids' names are, and not having all these beautiful historical experiences together like they don't matter. Go like my Instagram, thank you.
And I feel like things go full circle after a while. It's like, you know, you make so many rights, you're going left. You know, it's
Well, speaking of Santa, do you know the psychology of why kids cry when they see Santa?
Why?
why.
Because for the most part, as they are learning about who Santa is, he's in a coloring book, he's on a TV screen, he's in magazines. Our brains think Santa is this tiny little figure, and then we go meet him, and he's big, and he's giant, and he's not what we were expecting. That's what's going to happen if we don't keep connecting with people, because we think people are their Instagram pictures, their TikTok videos, but we are so much more, and we are our best versions in person. And I urge anybody listening to this show to get out there, meet people, go out to coffee with your friends, pick up the phone and have a live conversation. Don't lose the art of communication. It's the greatest thing that humanity ever developed.
Leave a voicemail.
Yeah.
Leave the message. Pick up the
That's
phone.
a very good point, Brie.
Yeah, I love hearing people's voices. I did not want to do this, even though I urged my friend Chris that I would love to be his host. I have been sweating the whole time, but I'm so glad I did this today with you guys.
Well, you 10x'd your
Likewise.
potential, and now look where your brain
Thank
allowed
you.
you to get to.
Likewise.
Yeah.
I do have a bonus question as it relates to just human connection, understanding, you know, the layers of human behavior. With your ideology when it comes to, you know, connecting in person and with, you know, marketing hovering in this social media world and online presence, how do you bridge your beliefs when it comes to, you know, connecting in person, you know, building these authentic relationships, and then also, you know, this general marketing perspective that's centered with online.
Did you just like unlock my favorite thing to talk about?
You know what?
Let's go.
And let's do it.
Let's get into it. Marketing
How
is
much time do we have?
marketing is an ecosystem. So there are several parts to marketing. You'll hear me say it often. It is an art and it is a science. And it is 360. So one way I like to describe it, and I talked about this recently on a show. If I individually met with each of you and said, describe a rainforest to me, what would you say?
It's green.
It's muggy and wet and green.
Humid and green.
Did all of you just say green?
Yeah, we did.
Because the rainforest is one of the strongest branded things in the world. In your mind, you might be seeing it a little bit differently, but we all see it similarly. And that's where the marketing tactics and the brand come into play, the more traditional piece that you're talking about. Listen, we have to be smart digitally. We have to have a social strategy. We have to have an email campaign that goes with it. We have to show up on our own media channels in consistent ways. But when that consumer, when that audience member shows up to your brand, the experience needs to kick in. The hospitality needs to kick in. Who you said you were needs to come to fruition. And that's where the art and science of marketing come to play. And that's what I'm very passionate about. I see it too often when I'm partnering with entrepreneurs. They'll say, I want to increase my sales in this particular marketplace. And then I go review their tactics and they're spending $10,000 on a magazine that doesn't touch that zip code. And then you call that point out and they go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that. The art and science of it. And it's about intentionality. It's about developing who you are first and foremost. Who are you as a brand? What are you about? Then delivering that message across the tactics, the more traditional pieces of marketing, the general marketing as you described it.
I see.
Does that answer your question?
Perfectly.
Great.
Yeah, so I don't want you to charge me for your time now, but I'm assuming you did a little due diligence before you stepped into the show of California Leaders. This is a brand new platform. I mean, I've been doing it for a little over a year, but it started with the podcast. It's growing to something else. We're going to have a printed magazine, which people say is a dinosaur, but I think there's a need for it. What did you understand, or what do you capture from that marketing perspective and that marketing view when you look at the platform as it is today?
Great question. First and foremost, the origin story is there. I understand why you're doing this, and that's in part because of the pre-research I did on you, but also because of the conversation we had at dinner the night we met, which is who you said you were and who you are aligned for me. So I think your passion for professional greatness, for the potential of building bridges between people and highlighting stories of not just who people are today, but who they were that got them there stands out to me. And I think you did a really good job setting the stage as to why you pursued this and why we're now talking about California leaders versus just Southern California leaders. I think the people you're highlighting are very interesting. I think you do a really great job at bringing their story out. And I think you're doing a great job. And for 1 year in, your operation feels pretty established, feels pretty intentional. And just from talking to you, I know that you're constantly evaluating and improving it. So I give major kudos to you.
Thank you. And you have this humongous budget from where you come from. What is your thoughts on a printed media still? Because you guys are all over the journals. You guys spend quite a bit on printed media still. What is the thought process behind that?
What if someone's not online? How are you going to capture them? But you're also online for the people who aren't reading print. It goes back to that ecosystem I'm talking about. It goes back to the magazine needs to sound, needs to talk, needs to feel like your digital ads, like your social media presence, like your email campaign, like your LinkedIn post. And when you draw a consistent through line of branding through all those tactics, you reach the wide audience you need to, and you will sing the song to the right audience member when they are tuning in. So print is not the only medium anymore, but print is not dead. And you need to drive eyes to print through your digital strategy, and you need to drive eyes to your digital through your print strategy. They need to talk, and they need to be intentional. They need to be aligned.
Thank you. Well, make sure you send Bree the bill.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's incredible. You want to hear it from someone. Obviously, I haven't had a lot of professional consultations, I guess.
Let's do one right now.
I mean, we'll definitely. I'll definitely love to sit down with you further and maybe send Bree the bill. But I know your time and your knowledge is valuable, And to be able to sit down and capture that a little bit, just to validate what I'm trying to create here, to me, it's really about amplifying one another. I come across leaders like you, and you guys always represent the organization you work for. And I just want to make sure that these people are represented as themselves as well. And we all have incredible stories, but how do we help amplify that? And not just in Los Angeles. If I can just do the 4th largest economy in the world, California, then we'll do a great job, right? So I think there's a need for it. Again, I really appreciate you coming and sitting down and talking with us, and Bree for this idea, and you for sitting here with us. We'll definitely have to strategize to see if this format works. I haven't done too much research on what's out there right now, but to me, it's all about having some type of connection to the speakers. If people can connect with people like you, they're going to want to listen. They're going to want to learn. So I think it's really about just kind of getting that outside view, because I feel like I've been in it a little too much. So I want to really sit down and talk about how this format can play into it, because it is different. Having a cocktail, being here after hours, after work, right? We all have our 9 to 5, but there's something here, right? I just need to fine tune it a little bit more. So I'd love to pick your brain more on that.
Well, I'll tell you, as one of your first guests of this format, I enjoyed the conversation a lot. It was fun to dig back into my brain and my experiences and remember what got me here. And I think that's really important for established leaders today, is to remember that the skill set, the natural ability, the grit, the hard work is what got us here today. And though things may look different at certain levels, you're still that person, and you still have to visit these stories back. And there's a lot of people out there listening who are fighting for that promotion, trying to decide where they want to work and what they want to do, navigating difficult manager relationships, who could listen to this and take one bit of advice and change their lives forever. The way the feeling of homesickness changed mine, the way pressing an elevator button changed my life, the way knocking on that door, asking for a job changed my life, and the way a bad day changed my life. Everything is an opportunity, and I think you're going to touch a lot of audience members who are looking for that opportunity, for that door to open that doesn't change just the moment, but who they are forever.
Yeah, having a good mentor relationship, someone always to call, to be on your side. Has Nick, whether vice versa, you've always been there for me, good or bad. I think it's always good to have people like that in your life when you're going through things. So I feel like it's always good for people to know that whatever part of your journey you're on, there's always someone in your life you can reach out to. And whether you're having a hard time in your career or not, remaining on your path of integrity in your career is always good to have people to remind you of that. And Nick has always reminded me of that on my path.
And thank you for saying my name in rooms that I'm not in. And
always.
Final closing advice for me is get out there and happy hour in person, connect with people.
Yes.
Even if
Have
you're
fun along
a
the way.
mocktail or not. Yeah, you don't have to have
Any final
cocktail.
words? Yeah.
Well, you know, unconvention, you know, when I hear about your unconventional path and where you started versus where you have ended up, I just think that, you know, it's the journey, right? But I think that ultimately, you know, success doesn't equate to linear. You have to embrace, you know, the ups and, you know, the linear moves, but nonetheless, there's just a myriad of ways to get to your end game.
Definitely. And this is all part of it. Thank you guys for your time. I appreciate everyone being here. Hopefully my drinks were okay. Next time I'll get a bartender.
Yeah, it was a great Negroni.
It was great.
Well, cheers.
Excellent.
Thank you guys.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you guys. Salute.
Salute. What a great conversation. Yes. I love drinks after dark. Here we go.
Thanks for spending some time with us on California Leaders After Hours. We hope you enjoyed the conversation. Be sure to subscribe, follow California Leaders, and share this episode with someone who enjoys thoughtful conversations about leadership and the journeys behind it. Until next time, close the laptop, take a breath, and join us again after hours.